just. All righty, so we're right at 4 o'clock. We're gonna get going shortly. If we ever get there in the same
Whoa,
in the same focal plane.
Oh man, we've got to be like one. Oh, I'm not sure that's gonna work.
There we go. Okay, hang on a second. Wait, I was gonna do the wait,
Yep.
wait.
Oh,
Okay, get in there.
oh, it's just Eric. Yes. You guys
Okay,
are
I
funny.
think that's sufficient for us playing around.
Mhm.
So
I can go.
yes, you may go
Okay,
now.
bye. Job is done.
All right. Hello, everyone. I see we have just shy of 70 members on board, and thank you all for taking your Valentine's evening, probably, or afternoon. I do understand that in an ideal world, we could have scheduled this on a different date. I understand also, I know it's also Ash Wednesday as well, and so we've got kind of a routine of a calendar. I think we'll do a little bit better job adjusting them next time. But here we are. It is being recorded. So first on the screen, I want to introduce, most of you probably know her, I would imagine, to my virtual left, I guess, or right, I'm not sure, Lori Plummer. She's our corporate manager, now titled executive director. And you probably have all worked with her online. And down in the bottom here, at least on my screen, is Kathy Giese. Some of you know Kathy Giese is a longtime Region 10 president. And when she turned out as Region 10 president, her thought was she was going to, and Dave were going to just retire and do something fun. Then she decided to run for executive council, and she's now an executive council member. Kathy's on today because part of today agenda is going to be talking about the courtesy parking program that is powered by Harvest Host. And while this program was initiated in concept and direction by the International Board of Trustees almost a year ago in Jackson Center at our 3-day strategy meeting, we had to negotiate the contract with Harvest Hosts, figure out what we're going to do. And Kathy took over responsibility for that contract negotiation, working with the executive council and IBT. And she is our implementation manager. So she doesn't get to retire until this goes live later on in the year. So for all of these Campfire chats, Lori and I do our best to answer every question. I've been told we've missed some. I apologize. We get a lot. We try to answer the majority of them live. And tonight you'll see probably half of our time being, I don't know, let's call it a canned presentation, and the other half question and answers. And we'll stay here until you all kind of peter out. If there's some that we can't answer, we'll get back to you right away. I also pride myself in my years of executive management of telling people, look, ask any question you want, and I will tell you to my knowledge what the answer is, and if I can. Or if it's private, I'll tell you I can't answer that privately. So ask any question you want. So let me just bring up.
And Eric, if we can remind everybody, if you do have a question, please use the Q&A box, type your questions, and then as they stack up, we will definitely get to them and answer for you.
Okay, so I'm hoping y'all can see this. I would imagine you can. This is what we're going to talk about today, just to kind of tee off the conversation. We're going to talk about our strategic priorities. And I know I keep talking about this, but it's really important. And it is something that is new for our club in the last year and a bit. We've always had a strategic plan. It's usually gone into a drawer after we did it and never used after that. So what we're doing now is that we are putting in front, we talk about it a lot. We try to tie our investments, which are both financial investments and resource investments, to the strategic priorities we defined last year. And in fact, I would argue that is what strategic priorities are. They're a way to choose where we align our resources first, second, third, and fourth. Then I'm going to talk about the website menu refresh project. And then Lori's going to talk about sort of what's the status of our membership, discounts and benefits programs, what to expect at International Rally. By the way, IR is International Rally. And a little bit about Minot. She's got a little bit of a teaser. The exec council just approved entering into negotiations with Minot, final negotiations for our Rally 2026. And then Kathy's going to round out the afternoon talking about the courtesy parking and Harvest Host. Okay. All right, first of all, just to reiterate, our club strategic priorities as defined by your International Board of Trustees last year was internal communications, external comms, welcoming and retaining our members, infrastructure, and training, right? And so we came to these based on feedback from just a whole bunch of you out there. Internal communications is how do we better communicate with you, our members? And so you'll see the things we've done in the last year around the redesigned Blue Beret, the Blue Beret Bulletin, the Blue Beret blog, these campfire chats. There's been multiple webinars on sort of how do you do your tires, looking at travel insurance that people can join also. So we're trying to do a better job of communicating with our members. External is how do we communicate with people who are not yet Airstream Club members. This also includes reaching out to the dealers through our partnership with Airstream Inc. to make sure the dealers are aware of the value we bring to Airstream owners. The welcome and retained members, as Lori will share with you, we get roughly 150 new memberships. So roughly 300 new members joining each month. And that's great. We love the fact that people are interested in our club, but the most important thing we really care about is that retaining our current members and also welcoming the new members. And the way you retain and you welcome people is to make sure that they get out of the club what they're looking for, be it good camping opportunities, information about their Airstreams, socialization, all that stuff. So we're trying to work on that. Infrastructure is not just stuff buried underground and pavement and roofs in our main office in Ohio, but it's also our software infrastructure. It's also our financial stability. And so we put a lot of time looking at our financial stability in terms of our ability to have improved financial reporting, financial analysis, and financial controls as well. The last one is training at all levels. I mean, we know, in fact, I would argue most of you that are listening have gotten sort of the tug from someone at a rally saying, hey, would you mind helping out doing this for the club? Being it a website person, a newsletter person, a membership chair, a president, an officer, and you probably say yes. And then the question is, well, how do I do that? And we need to do a much better job, the board identified, in bringing on people and supporting them, those who are volunteering for the club. All right, so the first thing I wanted to share was the website menu refresh. We heard loud and clear over the last 2 years was that while this website was good, we needed to simplify how it felt. And so what we did is we had a little project. We looked at where our members go, because the website obviously provides information about sort of what are the main and most important links. Where do people go to? We found that, guess what? People want to look at the news, like Blue Beret, blogs, things like that. They want to hear what's going on in the club. They want to find out member resources, things that are relevant to them about how to get big red numbers, how to go to rallies, just all kinds of stuff in there. We knew they wanted to look for events, sort of where are all the rallies. So we left that the way it is. They want to know sort of, okay, I live in Louisiana. What opportunities are around me to join local clubs or regions? And so that's sort of the clubs. And then the about is what we had it before. We also, and I won't show this with you today, but one really core part of our website is communicating to our probably 500 leaders in the club about leadership related stuff. These are motions and bylaws, and how do you report your new members? How do you change names of clubs? There's a whole bunch of administrative tasks that your officers have to deal with. And we created a section called the leadership portal. And that's where all that stuff is contained. So if you're a leader looking for an answer, it will be in the leadership portal. All right. Lori, I'm going to hand it over to you to talk about our discounts and benefits.
Alrighty. So this is something, if you are not familiar with it, it is on the website. You go to the members only section that we have been working really hard to get different kind of benefits, whether they're monetary or educational or whatever it is. So the newest ones we have coming on here in the next couple weeks is our RV Life Pro is one of us. Zargus, which I've heard is amazing. And actually we partner with Zargus, working with Airstream Inc. in regards to it. These are really fancy cases, things of that to protect your goods when you're traveling, as well as Clean Tank. We also just recently added to the Solo stove line. If you haven't seen, I believe it was in today's email, the pizza oven. So they now have a pizza oven out there that's going to also have our have our etched logo in that oven for folks. Next screen, Eric. I think we're going into talking a little bit about our membership. Thank you. So our membership is just great. As Eric was saying, we're growing, we're still growing. We're getting up close to 150, and actually it's starting to spike up a little bit. But the whole website, the rebranding and things that we did back started in 2019. As you see the circle on this list, it really shows where we kind of started spiking in our membership, and it is continually going that way. I really believe everything we've done is really helping us grow and bring people to us through that, as well as I'm sure everybody's aware of the partnership we have with Airstream Inc. In regards to the Explorer program, which is really starting to take off as well. When Eric and I went and visited with the dealers, which I believe was last August, maybe, dates all kind of blend in together, but we were really reconnecting with the dealers, just not for membership, but for Blueberry advertising. And I feel like since that has happened and we're getting a lot of information in front of us, they're contacting us more and building those relationships. So in the end, that will help you as a member as we build those relationships. So this shows the last year we ended, sorry, I've got so many screens going on. We ended 2023 with 9,559 memberships. So if you can see, that is just amazing in my book. And it's been 22 years since we've had that many memberships within the club. So 9,500 was a goal I keep wanting to reach, and we made it. So this year, of course, we're going to continue to work on continuing to grow the club. I know somebody had asked me at one of the previous chats to have since the time began, which I have all that data, and I'm just trying to figure out how we can get it on one screen, 60 some years of membership, but we'll get that figured out for the future. Next slide, please. So this is what I mentioned about the joins, and Eric had mentioned as well. But if you, I know we'll slide through this, but it's also, I believe we have this on the site, but you can see our growth. So the bright blue, that's every month. This last year in 2023, 2022 was the yellow, and so on. So yes, we got a little spiky during COVID and the right after, but as you can see, I feel like we're really steady this last year. We're really in the ballpark. So it's consistent, steady growth that I see we're going to be continuing to do with all of our new Airstream owners. Next slide. So the 2024 rally in Sedalia, Missouri, I'm excited to say at this moment we have over 1,170 registrations. We can accommodate up to 1,400 there. And again, this is our first rally in the fall. And I see Raymond Russell, you made a comment about conflict. And unfortunately, no matter what we do, we're going to have a conflict with something, whether it's another rally, whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it's something. We try very hard not to make conflicts, but we do the best we can. So we will do that. One of the things we are working on with Sedalia and the city of Sedalia, because again, we've heard this from our members, so some of our members still want to come to our rallies, but they just can't tow anymore. They don't have the time or something. So we're actually trying to work a deal with Amtrak, because we know, actually I know some of our members have come to our rallies via train. So we're working with Amtrak to put together a deal. The city has already said that they are willing to sponsor a shuttle to get people wherever they need to go if they're coming in by train for that. So I'm really excited to be working on that. The team is. So when we have more information, we will share that with you, because our goal is, again, it's about camaraderie. It's about the Airstream lifestyle. And even if you can't get your trailer there, we want you there anyway to enjoy the times with others. And then if you could, next slide, please. As Eric mentioned, we are starting in our final contract talks with Minot, North Dakota. We went and visited them. I don't remember when, but great community. I'm super excited. We'll walk through these slides to talk more about that. So we're targeting August. I don't have the exact date yet, but it's targeting August of 2026 is when we should be in Minot. You can go to the next slide, please. So they are located in the north central region of North Dakota. They have a population of about 50,000 people, elevation 1,500, time zone, central time zone, and the average temps in August is around 80, lows in the 50s. I was never so impressed with the community as I was with Minot. They are just oozing with passion, and they want us there, and they're willing to do pretty much whatever it takes to get us there. I'm excited that it's only about 50 miles from the Canadian border, and I'm also excited that it's about 100 miles from the International Peace Garden. So for those of you that may or may not know, the picture you're seeing on the right with the dove, that was actually donated by WBCCI originally in the early 70s. And then around 2010, I believe it was, right in that timeline, a group of WBCCI members raised enough money to have a new foundry and a new statue redone. So I'm excited to make that happen. So there in their town, they have a little bit of everything: a zoo, the Scandinavian Heritage Park, a Discovery Center, outdoor recreations, great little bars and stuff within the town. So Eric, if you go to the next slide, I believe that is our little, just a minute here if you want to watch this video. So that's their little promo video, and they are super excited to have us come to their city. And the next slide.
I guess, Lori, would you say that all those images, I think they're certainly within 5 miles of the rally site, and a number of them are bikeable too, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I believe they have that new bike trail as well. So here's basically the map of the location. We're going to have a little over 1,160 powered sites. They're 30 amp power. Of course, we're going to have room for boondocking. We'll be doing pump outs. And the one thing that we're going to be doing a little bit differently is we're actually going to be delivering water instead of having it daisy chained or piped in. And then we got 60 full hookup spots that we'll see who manages to get those. So we'll work on that. Great facility. In the next slide, you're going to see everything that's in the red squares except for the red square that says SE2. That's going to be the arrival area, but everything else is parking. So we're excited how it's laid out. Again, a beautiful facility. And actually it backs up to walking distance to the zoo. The bike trail is on the kind of top of this map that goes to another park that has a bunch of oh shoot, Eric, I forget the name of it, but it has a bunch of playground equipment and those type of things for families and kids. So great location there.
And they have an archery range there, which I'm really quite excited about.
Absolutely. So move on to the next slide. And then again, I'm just impressed with this location. This building you're seeing is their State Fair Center. And 90% of what we're going to we do for a rally, those that have been at the rally, all our different things will be in this building. It is enormous. We still have a couple outbuildings we'll be using primarily for all of our friends that love to play pickleball. We made sure we had space for that. And then also for our kids. And so we'll have exclusive use on the grounds for this. So we're excited to be able to utilize this one building. I've never actually, the 9 years of doing this, I've never been in a building, fairgrounds that had more space than I knew what to do with in one building. So we're super excited to make this happen. Next slide, please.
Hang on a second, before we go off of the iNational Rally, there's a question from Steve about volunteering.
Yes.
About the ability to volunteer. Maybe just touch on that now before we go off this.
His was more a training, some of the training things. I was going to follow up with him, but absolutely. We have a team of 8 on the rally committee, and then we have hundreds of volunteers that help us pull off everything that we do during the international rally.
And we have a new volunteer management software also we're going to be trying for some of the volunteer teams, right?
We will be, yes.
Yeah.
We're just now getting into that. So we will definitely have more information with that coming up in the next month. One of the exciting things I have for you, for those of you who know who David Golly is, this young man was at our office, and he was actually the first member to purchase our new lapel pin that with the ACI logo.
Wait. I talked to David. I was the first one to purchase one, but he was the first one to get it.
Yes, he was the
Yes.
first one to have it in his hands and put it on his shirt. And we
Yes.
made sure that David called Eric to make sure Eric was aware of that. So that pin is about 1.25 inches, just a little bit bigger than a quarter, and it's $5. So for those of y'all that love the pins and things of that nature, it's one more to add to your collection. So it's available at our store, and you are willing to go online and get that.
All
So
right,
I
thanks,
think
Lori.
that's kind of the quick overview. The one thing I do want to touch on, though, before we get into all of Kathy's fun stuff tonight, is our Eclipse rallies. I think everybody knows, somebody mentioned it, we have at least 9 that we know of at HQ of Eclipse rallies. We are going to be doing some live broadcasting, whether it's simulcast or live. We're working on the logistics of that. So even if you can't participate at one of our Eclipse rallies, hopefully you'll be seeing us go live on YouTube from all of these different rally locations. So we're excited to pull that together.
And Laverne and I are going to be with the Razorbacks at the rally in Arkansas. We're really excited about that. Yes.
Yeah, so that's exciting. All
Okay.
right, overdue.
All right, so this next one, this is really interesting. I'm going to hand it over to Kathy in a second, but when we talked with the board IBT last year, we talked about what are some of the benefits that our members have of being in the program that are unique, right? That you can't get normally. And it was courtesy parking, because we knew even a year ago that RV parks are really, really full these days. They're expensive. The concept of Airbnbs was wonderful. We knew a lot of our members liked Harvest Hosts, but we knew that we heard this from the hosts, the courtesy parking hosts, of which we have roughly 500. They said, well, we love offering it, but nobody ever uses it. And the club members who tried to use it felt, well, it's usable, but it's problematic. So let me hand it over to Kathy. She can talk through kind of what we're going to be doing.
That was a lovely segue into what I have to say. Thank you, Eric, and thanks, Lori, for letting me join in here. I want to back it up a little bit because I think sometimes we take for granted that everybody on here listening is real familiar with the things we're talking about. So I'm going to back it way up to who we are as a board. We basically are the 12 region presidents plus the executive council. And so when we talk about we get together and discuss things, we do that quarterly, usually by Zoom. But last year we were very fortunate, and the mothership invited us to come down and use their boardroom meetings. And so we all gathered together and went through a lot of the stuff that Eric's talking about. So when we talk about, who we are, we're all membership driven because you guys are the ones that put us into the position. Before I get into this too deep, I want to welcome Alyssa Javati. She's the Harvest Host Senior Brand Partnership Manager, and she's sitting in here listening to us today. Hopefully will correct me if I do something really wrong or tell you something that's not right. So we did meet in Jackson Center, and as Eric mentioned, we started talking about why don't people use the courtesy parking? It's a great benefit benefit its, its fellow members. And I've used it several occasions, really like it. But there's been some issues, some roadblocks, so to speak. One is there's no pictures. So you don't really know. I mean, the first time I used it, I thought, what if I end up parked right on the street in a busy neighborhood and there's cars coming and going all night long? What's it going to look like? What if it's a really end-level area? And then it gets to be a really awkward situation because you're talking to a fellow member and they've told you something and you just go, gosh, this isn't going to work out for me. So how do I back out of this gracefully? So that's kind of been one of the issue. The other is phone tag. So as it is now, you click on one of these little blue dots and it pops up and it has a name and an address, phone number, and if they want you to contact by email, then you can contact them that way. That also gets into a little bit of a privacy issue for some members. They're a little concerned that they're a little too visible. So I think that's held us back on people that might be interested in volunteering for courtesy parking. So invariably, when I've booked mine, I've had to call back 3 or 4 times because the minute I hang up, I go, oh, shoot, I forgot to ask about this. Everything from, are there any hookups available? Some hosts offer electric or water. Some places, if they have dogs of their own, they may not want you having a pet. Most don't, most are just fine with that. So anyway, so it generates a lot of phone tag back and forth. Also find this website was really hard to navigate. If I'm wanting to go to Sedalia, Missouri, for instance, I'm back and forth looking at this and trying to figure out, well, gee, where in these little blue dots can I potentially stay? The other interesting thing is we don't do reviews. So and it's not that people are going to review things bad, but they might mention something that might not work out for you in particular. So we've had lots of holes, so to speak, special amenities, generator usage, for instance, the maximum airstream size. So a lot of calls back and forth. So, and from the host standpoint, as I mentioned, there's some privacy issues about if you click on that, then all of a sudden their address and their name and all of that's out there. Also, a communication issue. If a guest shows up and they were expecting something that you don't offer and there was some miscommunication there. So that's also, but the biggest complaint that I've heard from hosts is they just don't get that many guests and they want more because it's a really, really fun experience. So we, as a board, we talked about, well, what do our members use for trip planning and why does it work and why doesn't it work for us? And Harvest Host popped up. Next slide, Eric. So this is a division of Harvest Host called Boondockers Welcome. And this is what, for those of you on here that aren't members of Harvest Host, this is kind of what we will look like as we go down the road on this. You can browse by the route, by the region, by location. You can plot your trip and it will show you everything along the route, how you're going to do that. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Harvest Host, they're a membership organization that have access to over 5,000 farms, wineries, museums, churches, etc. Mostly small community-based businesses, which I really like because you end up supporting that. Their website's very user-friendly. It's easy to navigate. As I mentioned, trip planning capabilities. There's a very clear description of the property, photos, are hookups available, what their pet policy will be. And again, for those of you listening that aren't familiar with Harvest Host, it's primarily boondocking. It's a one-night stay as you're traveling along the way. For instance, Sedalia, I'll have a number of one-night stops as I work my way back east. It's unlimited annual stays at no charge. A purchase or donation is requested, usually around $20 minimum. I've used it as an opportunity to shop for gifts for friends and family. I've purchased lavender products from a lavender farm, alpaca socks from an alpaca farm. And by the way, those alpacas can spit. Lots of wine or spirits from wineries and distilleries. We have a golf course add-on on my Harvest Host membership. And the location is always lovely. And after it starts to get dusk, the golfers leave and you have this beautiful golf course to walk and to enjoy, to participate and support the business. We usually have breakfast on the morning. We're packing up to leave. And so, we help support that business as well. So as we were talking about, we said, why don't we just do what they're doing on our website? Well, that's way easier said than done. My best guesstimate from talking to IT people is that Harvest Host has invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in building out this platform. And quite honestly, that's just not something in our toolbox right now. Maybe someday when we have 500,000 members, I don't know. And Alyssa's probably nodding her head right now over what costs are required to build something out like this. So then we said, well, how can we offer our members the Harvest Host experience? Could we partner with Harvest Host like we have with other vendors? What about an Airstream member-only platform that was hosted by Harvest Host? So discussions were undertaken last summer and fall, and we finally reached an agreement in November of 2023 for the partnership. And as you will see by the timeline in a later slide, we have begun integrating our program with theirs, and we'll talk in depth more about that. Next slide, Eric. So this again is a Boondocker slide, only we're showing you kind of what it's going to look like. And one of the most exciting things is look down there at the bottom, see all those little blue dots as you're plotting your course along. This is somebody obviously that's wanting to do a trip from either the East Coast to the West Coast or vice versa. On the right here, you'll see preferences. There will be, if you want to, as a host, this is completely your option. You can put an online calendar on there. And I've heard from Barb and Carolyn, who I'm assuming are on here listening tonight, that they are very excited about having an online calendar because it's going to be make it much easier for them as a host to manage any reservations. This very clearly, again, do you offer any kind of hookups? Are you okay with a generator? So ours won't look exactly like this. We'll have some different attributes, but this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of what it's going to look like. So again, able to plan your travel by route or region. And if you participate in this, you can put up photos of where your parking is and all of your personal information on this. You can also customize this. For instance, if you look real closely, it says this is called the Gully Ranch. So on our courtesy parking site, when you click on one of those blue dots, it pops up with the member's name, address, phone number, email. On this, it's going to be more private. You can name it, if you want to be Gully Ranch, you can be Gully Ranch. And so then until the reservation is confirmed with the host, then you won't see exactly what the location is. I'm sorry, it's not the location. You won't see exactly what the name of the member is and all of that. So it's another layer of privacy in that. Next slide, Eric, please. So I had a couple of questions come in that I thought were really good. One was, well, how far in advance can I try and make a reservation with this host? My general feeling is most people know 2 to 4 weeks out what their schedule is going to be like. So you can reach out to them. I don't think it would hurt a thing. If you know you're going to be in an area in 3 months, just reach out to them and say, hey, I know you probably can't commit right now exactly, but if you're not going to be in this area, let me know and I'll mark you off my list or whatever. So I think you can definitely book in advance on these. I usually use it because I don't know exactly where I'm going to land at night. So about noon on any given day, I start looking for where I'm going to stay with either a Harvest Host or now it will be on our program with them. The other question was, well, if you're a member of Harvest Host, you're expected to make a small purchase. Should I bring a gift? I'm telling you, it doesn't hurt to ever bring a gift to a host. So I make compound butters. A member of the club that I belong to in my region, they raise bees. And so they always take little jars of honey to hosts when they do that. So there's lots of fun ways. A bottle of wine, I've done that as well. So I'd suggest it. Is it required? Absolutely not. So here's one
Hey,
of the,
Kathy, I was going to jump in there real quick.
Yeah.
So Kat, one of our members, is already a Boondockers Welcome host and is a courtesy parking host. So she asked that question about managing two different calendars, how that's going to work. So Lisa jumped in there and she's going to take that question back to Harvest Host. So we'll be able to follow up in the future. But great question. So any of you guys out there that are currently on the Harvest Host platform or on our courtesy parking, please throw your questions out there. This is a great time to do that to help us as we start launching this program.
And again, those are all really good questions. Now, one of the things that's come up is, will members of Harvest Host that aren't Airstream Club International members be able to see my location, my information? Absolutely not. This is a program only current Airstream Club International members have access to this. You will have a login code, password. So this is not seen by anybody that is not an Airstream Club International member. So it's not open to people just because they belong to Harvest Hosts. So that very first point, only ACI members can view courtesy parking host information. And then another question was, do I have to purchase a membership to Harvest Host to use courtesy parking? No, you will get a no charge login that you can access this information. But if you are a Harvest Host member, you can use the same login and password to view all the camping options. So in addition to seeing the courtesy parking Airstream members on there, you'll also see all of your wineries, farms, whatever on there. Who's going to help me get my information together, do that? We have a host success team that we're building. It's going to help both hosts and guests, along with the information needed to set up an account. If you don't want to offer a reservations calendar, if you want someone to personally reach out to you in advance, and either by email or by phone number, that's your option entirely. All of this is your option, what you want to do on this. It's very much host driven and guest driven. And again, this is just the latest no charge benefit of membership that we're bringing to all of you. And let's see, the next slide. Thank you. I actually had it in order here. So how's this going to roll out? Well, we've already started it, and some of you have probably gotten some emails and started to see some information. HQ has been giving informational emails out through the Blue Beret blogs, through the Blue Beret, all kinds of information. And that's January, February. And then we're going to continue to promote this so that you get information. For our courtesy hosts, we're going to start doing informational webinars in March, and that will be an ongoing program. Then we're going to start about the same time gathering the data from our current hosts. And we have, 600, 800 of our members that do offer courtesy parking. We're going to have be asking, for photographs and what kind of amenities that you're, if you have anything, if you have water hookups or if you have electricity. The Airstream Club headquarters is going to start loading that host data onto the platform in what May looks like. And then if Carolyn, my friend Carolyn is on here, who tells me all the time, test, test, test. We're going to take some beta club hosts and guests and have them start testing all of this out, just to make sure that by the time we roll the entire thing out, that we've worked out any kind of bugs. We're also going to do some courtesy parking videos, how you sign in, how do you reserve, and it's going to be available to all members probably starting late June, early July. And August, yay, we're going to have the program available for everybody. So I,
So Kathy, we got Lenny jumping in here with some questions, and Lisa, I hope you can take some notes. So he's a Harvest host, as well as Courtesy Parking, and he would like to know will he know it's an Airstream owner when requesting a guest requesting to park at his place. So that's a good question. I don't think we had that in our preliminaries.
no, no. Yeah. And again, we're, you know, we're just really starting to put some of these
Yeah.
attributes and things together. So
I
great.
love these questions.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
Please bring all these questions now.
Yeah, so then Lenny also asked if he can port his photos and his amenities from his current Harvest Host profile into the ACI Courtesy Parking profile. So I'm going to say I don't think we have that answer, but we will definitely make sure the engineers and everybody we're working with has that question.
Super.
So we can make sure that we're getting that that question. Awesome. Come on,
Good.
bring the questions, guys. That's what this is about, right?
Exactly. And to kind of wrap up a little bit of what I'm talking about, and again, please reach out to me with any emails, any questions that you may have, text me, whatever. I'm a member. It's Kathy Geese, Geese, and my information's in the directory. And I'm happy to answer anything I can't answer. I'm not shy about going to people and saying, please, what is the answer to this? So one of the benefits that they are going to offer, a lot of our members do already belong to Harvest Host, but if for those that who have not joined yet, if you'd like to add the Harvest Toast and get the whole enchilada of farms, wineries, etc., they are going to offer 50% off a membership for the first year. And I think memberships run between $99 and $179, depending on which layers. Like I said, I added golf courses to mine because we like to go, and we just think that's a beautiful place to boondock for them.
Yeah.
So
Kat is asking if she can be part of the testing system. So Kat, I'm gonna suggest if you can reach out to Kathy, and Kathy will make sure you're part of that beta group, that initial group. Hi Millie. I see Millie's asking if she's ready. She's plotting her travels back to Texas. She's ready for this all to get going. So we're working on it. You know that. Darlene is asking, will this go into Canada? I'm because didn't Boondockers come from Canada? Boondockers Welcome was based in Canada, was it not?
I think so. And Lori, you probably know better than I do. How many Canadian hosts do we have up in Canada?
You know, I've never broken out the separation, but I know we had last we looked, we had over 850.
Total.
Courtesy within the club. So
yeah.
So Alyssa is saying yes. Darlene, we got your answer. Yes, this will go into the Canadian provinces. That's for sure.
That's great. Again, good questions. Bring them on.
Yes. We would be glad to be part of the beta group. Okay, so anybody who would want to be part of this early testing group as we start rolling this out, poor Kathy. We're going to inundate you, Kathy. So let Kathy know, as Eric says, she's our project manager helping pull all the pieces together on this. So if you want to add Boondockers, will Harvest Host honor the 50% discount on the upgrade? I don't know if I can answer that question.
I don't know either. I know that when I joined, I got a discount, and this has been years ago.
Yeah.
And I continue to get a better price. I pay less than what, somebody came in right now. So I'm going to assume that they're going to continue to honor your original pricing. But adding Boondockers, I don't know if there'll be an additional discount or not on that.
Okay, let's, I think we're kind of, well, maybe we're not wrapping on questions on Harvest Host. We have about 15 minutes left. I want to make sure we give an opportunity for discussions that are non-Harvest Host also, if we have any. Again, as Kathy showed, there's a lot of time before we roll this out. And there'll be many more communications on this with a lot of the specifics, but these questions are great. And thank you, Kathy, for offering to take questions on this. That'd be fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now we're in the general Q&A section. Again, you can continue Harvest Host or any other questions you have about what's going on in the club. And again, we try to answer everything as directly and clearly as we can.
I'm
Okay,
just
questions.
so excited about folks wanting to jump in and help with the testing of Harvest Host. I mean, that's what our membership's about. I cannot wait to get this launched. I know our courtesy parking has been so underutilized, and so this is exciting for our members. So, what else you want to
Wow.
talk about, Eric?
No tough questions out there. That's interesting.
No.
Well, all right. That's good. That's good.
Do we need to reach out to Kathy directly? If so, could we please have the best contact information? Actually, it's K Geese, Geese at airstreamclub.org would probably be the best way to get a hold of you, correct, Kathy? Yeah. So if not, if you guys go to our website and under current leadership, we have all the leaders listed there, and actually there's a link, email links for everybody that can make that happen.
So I'll tell you what's kind of up on our minds right now. I know Lori and mine and Kathy as well, and the rest of the board, is that we have our second annual 3-day strategy meeting coming up next month in Jackson Center. I mentioned it a tad in my last President's Corner, and it's 3 days of hard work. You know, our club historically had one IBT meeting at the International Rally, and that wasn't really a good venue for conversation because there was a long table with about 20 people sitting at it shoulder to shoulder. And it was just really hard to have any substantial discussions on anything other than voting on policies, amendments, bylaws, things like that. And so last year, what we did, we focused those 3 days in Jackson Center on our members and on the marketplace. We wanted to understand sort of what was important to our members, what are the key priorities for our club. And so we're hitting this again this year. I'm really excited about this year. You know, we've seen great growth or predicted growth in our membership. We're going to talk about half a day talking about our financials. Again, this is all around governing our club better. I have to keep telling people this. You know, we're a $3+ million organization, and we really haven't had any financial strategies on our reserves, our mandated level of reserves, our maintenance policies, our maintenance funds, things like that. You know, our investment policies. And while it's not that exciting to going camping, it's absolutely critical that we manage our club such that we're around for another 100 years, and we do it in a way that we can be transparent and understand what's going on. So we're gonna spend a lot of time on that, but also what are our initiatives? Like what's next for us this next year? If you saw my President's Corner in the last Blue Beret, we accomplished a ton in this last year. And I will say that was partly because we have a full executive council now of 9 members who are just working their butts off toward these initiatives. We have a really strong board of trustees, which are the 12 region presidents. And for those of you who are new out there, I got to tell you, it's a big ask for the region presidents, because all of those 12 region presidents, they've got a day job, if you will, which is running their regions. Now they've also been asked in this last year to participate in at least 4 structured business meetings as opposed to 1.5, plus get involved in a lot of these initiatives. So everyone's rolling their sleeves up and working toward things that we want. Where we need your help is to tell us where your priorities are. And your region presidents are the right person because they represent all of you. If you're in Colorado, or if you're in Oregon, or if you're in Massachusetts or Florida or Texas or whatever, reach out to them and say, hey, look, you know, I'm really interested in this. Can you bring this up at the International Board of Trustees strategy meeting? And we can figure out sort of what's important, what's next for us. We're being very mindful of our cash. You know, we all have experienced, you know, sort of the market uptick in RVs during the pandemic. And we have expected for a couple of years now that our membership growth, just like RV production, by the way, will start to taper off a bit. And so we want to make sure that we build our club such that we don't get too aggressive in how we budget our expenses. That said, you all pay membership dollars for a reason. You expect to get benefit out of those dollars. So we want to make sure that your membership dollars go to a place that helps you. So this courtesy parking is one of the huge things I think a lot of our members will be taking advantage of, and other things as well. So keep those questions or ideas coming to us. We love any of the ideas.
So
Okay.
I'm going to answer Terry's question asked about, should we expect some information ahead of time of international about what to do in the area? Well, actually, it's already out there for you. You could go to the airshinclub.org/rally 2024 website. It's got the local attractions. It's got our schedule. We got that already posted. And so we will continually, I don't want to say every day, but I feel like every day we're updating that, adding more and more information about the local area. I do know that.
Laura, let me try to share that since we got a few minutes. I can do that. Okay. And so Laura, you're telling people to go to under events, right?
Yep.
And then you can go to either all rallies or go to the international rally that's focused on next year.
Yep. This year.
And there's a great page, right?
Yeah.
All in for, go ahead.
Yeah. So as Eric was mentioned right there on the right, is where all of our things are. So you can see where it says local attractions. That is basically what we get directly from the local CVB, the local visitors bureau. And they talk about there at the top, there's a little bit of information about the Katy Trail, things to do right there in that area. Then as you scroll down, this is their digital visitors guide. So everything that is local to Sedalia, you can find that information there. And again, I would check back, suggest and recommend to everybody check back almost weekly, because things are really starting to fire up and get heated up there for the rally, which is going to
So
be
again, the
amazing.
international rally isn't the be all end all, but it is a big deal for our club. And so we've tried to do a much better job of telling you all ahead of time when they're going to be. Historically, you found out 1 year, 12 months or 13 months before where it was going to be. Now we're able to tell you out through 2020, actually out through 2027, I think, right?
I forget what year I'm in at the time. Yes. We're through 27, starting to focus on a couple locations for 28.
Right. So we obviously Sedalia 2024, York, Pennsylvania 2025, hopefully Minot, North Dakota 2026, and a return back to Wyoming, Rock Springs in 2027.
Yep.
And in 2028, we're heading sort of east of the Rockies, kind of bouncing back and
We're
forth.
hoping we're going to be east of the Mississippi, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So I also saw a question about an update on the Explorer program results to date. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but we're well over 300, if not 400. Again, the uptick of getting information out to the dealers learning more about the programs, more and more know. So that's starting to really take off there. I also see a question about Groupio. Yes, Groupio is being replaced. We've actually outgrown Groupio. I'm talking about having engineers on their toes. We were struggling in Rock Springs because they could not keep up with our volume. So we're going to a new app called Whova. It's WHOVA, and that'll be being released mid to late April. And of course, keep your eyes out for that information. That's going to be coming out, so everybody knows that.
Okay, Patrick asked a question about the RV park feasibility. So what happened was in our last fireside chat, Campfire chat, we talked about the fact that we're doing a feasibility analysis to see if there's the logistics around, infrastructure around, funding around building a small RV park in Jackson Center right behind our office space, which is, I don't know, is it a mile? How many blocks from the Airstream headquarters and the service center? And the idea behind that, by the way, was that you'd be surprised how many of our members, regardless of where they live, I will say, because end up going through Jackson Center to either get their trailer worked on, they're going across country, they're on a caravan. They want to
You
go
have
visit
to go to the mothership.
the
have
factory
to go. I mean,
tours.
that's part of an Airstream owner.
Yeah, so we've been unable to to really provide a local place for people. And so we have this idea of a feasibility study launching an RV park. If it gets done, it will not use member dollars, by the way, membership dollars. It'll be all like the Peace Garden statue Lori talked about. It'll be all individual donors going into that. Because we don't believe it's appropriate to use membership funds to build an RV park, which only some of our members can use. And so if it moves forward, we'll have a capital campaign to see who's interested in helping fund it out. The study right now is that we've launched a feasibility study. Their initial results should be back by the end of February, so in 2 or 3 weeks or so. And that feasibility study will help us understand a little bit more about some of the problems of building something. So there's permitting issues, there's land use issues, there is infrastructure, utilities, water. Is it sized well enough, electrical well enough? What about the business model, right? Because we don't typically run RV parks, and so this consultant that we've engaged has experience in developing and planning RV parks. They won't build it for us, but they'll help us understand sort of, okay, is it going to be 5 million or 20 million or $500,000? And by the way, it does vary a lot. And just one last thing on that, if you talk to people that have built RV parks, one of the ratios they look at is the development cost per site. In other words, if you have 100 sites, is it 10K per site to develop, or is it $20,000 per site to develop? And it kind of depends where you are, if you're already on the land or not, blah, blah, blah. And so they're going to help us understand a ballpark, what it'll cost, and they can roll it into a business model. So I would hope that in a couple of months, we'll have some more information about that. We'll be talking about this with the International Board of Trustees in Jackson Center, because we should have a feasibility study at that point. So I hope that answers that question. But again, I have to keep stressing, no membership funds are going to be used for that RV park.
So Joe's asking if he can get an airstreamclub.org email. And the way that can happen, Joe, is if you run and you become an officer on the executive council, they do get issued .org emails with that. Say,
Oh.
hey, Jenny Schnetler.
So Jenny Snetler, I should have got her on screen. You'll see her in the future. Jenny Snetler is one of our executive council members also. Thank you, Jenny. And Jenny is running the feasibility study for the RV park. And so Jenny and her husband, John, dear friends of ours, are out in Region 4 in Ohio. And so the question that Jenny reminded me to talk about is that, so there's a couple things that are really important to us as a club. And it's our history, our legacy, just some of the valuables that we have in historical items, and we don't have a good way to look at those. For example, if you want to take a look at any of the historical photos or images right now of our club that date back 65 years, you pretty much have to go to the Airstream factory. There's a little bit in the current headquarters building. So one of our visions of this RV park and clubhouse is to have half of it, the clubhouse, dedicated to a historical display, right? So you'd be able to walk in there, sit down, get internet access, maybe wash your clothes, but also about half the facility, be able to take a look at some of the historical artifacts of our past caravans, our history with Helen. Bob Schwamborm is one of the person that started the club and stuff like that. So that's the goal of that, to have a big historical, and we're working closely with VAC and with the historical committee on what happens on that.
So Tracy is asking if we can get a B2 flyover. So we are working on a flyover at Sedalia, and I'm sure since the Air Force is close there in Minot, we will be working on that as well when we get there. I saw another rally question. Now I lost it. Millie used the Hoover app for Bourbon Women. Woohoo! It was wonderful, easy to use. Great to hear that. Somebody was asking questions about Minot.
And I
So-
answered that.
Oh, you got them? Okay.
I said, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
We're 30
Uh,
amp, gray and black will get pumped out.
Yep.
Water will be brought to the site, and there are
Yep.
60 hookup sites.
Yep.
Did I do it right?
You did. You paid attention to my
I've been listening.
presentation. Thanks, Kathy.
By the way, one of the challenges that we have, I talk to members about this all the time, is that it's great having a large, robust, growing, vibrant club. No doubt about that. It's just much more enjoyable than a club that's declining. But our international rallies have becoming large again. And back in the 60s and 70s, having a 3,000 rig rally wasn't that big of a deal, but they parked out in the field and they had maybe 15 amps and they dug a hole for sewer. Right. So we can't do that anymore. And our members are saying we want more amenities nowadays. I do too. And so the challenge is how do we find a facility with 1,400 or 1,500 sites that we can bring in a minimum of 30 amps into, because we've heard that loud and clear. We want 30 amp, solid 30 amp, reliable 30 amp. And do it in a time of the year where it isn't really hot. And as you guys know, it's with our extreme weather, it's challenging now. Our international rallies used to be in July, but can you imagine camping in the South and in the East, some places in July? The heat is horrible. And one member told me, well, they said you're indoors all the time. It's like, no, that's not true. Our people who go to national rallies, they have their trailer there, but they're running around all day long to events and sightseeing. And, you know, if it's well over 100 with high humidity, it's horrible. So our problem is we're getting big, we want more infrastructure, and we don't want to be too hot or too cold. So the number of places that can satisfy that are really small. So we've been also, Lori's done a really good job working with some of her peers, you know, finally with the other RV clubs, Escapees, Tiffin, people like that, because they have the same problem we do. And so we've been trying to share information with our peers. You know, we're not alone in this about how do we leverage some things they've learned. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's the answer on that. So we're,
Yeah, and to tap on that, Eric, what Eric is saying, so as we're working with different facilities such as Minot, they're super excited. They want us there and they want other RV clubs. So, you know, it's that old saying, build it, we will come. And so yeah, we're constantly looking. Amy, yes, we're looking at Texas, but Texas is always hot, is it not? I'd love to go to Texas. So yeah, we've got leads for actually Texas, some in Florida. But we are definitely keeping our eye out for all kinds of places.
and by the way, so Stephen Parr mentions, and there have been a couple comments about Minot and the Air Force Base. It is really interesting. A lot of our members, including myself and my wife, we really enjoy doing side trips to look at planes and things like that and Air Force bases. It's really interesting. And so, yeah, Minot is right there. And it's going to be really interesting. And we're hoping to, some of our local club people there, region people are looking at trying to get us into some of these places. But it's really hard to get into a military base nowadays, as you know, unless you're active military or retired military. But we'll do something good for sure. Okay, I'm always trying to be respectful of everyone's time. We are at the 1 hour plus 2 minutes. Lori and I will stay around. I assume Kathy will too, probably another 5 or 10 minutes or so, answer questions. But I just want to thank you guys for coming. We really enjoy doing this. It's great for Lori and me and now Kathy. And you'll start to see more people from our exec council or board of trustees come on and share certain things. I think we're going to have Ray Combs come on and talk about caravans in upcoming future, I believe, as well, because caravans is another big opportunity for us that a ton of our members want to use and have a lot of questions about, and they're just really exciting to go on. So thank you for your time. It's still Valentine's. You still got time to get out there and have a whatever time you want to have. So any last comments, Lori or Kathy, before we sign off?
I just trying to answer questions for our folks. When would Minot dates be? I don't have them exact right now, but it is going to be in August. I do know that August of 26, after their fair.
Okay. And let me answer, Darlene had a really good question. She says, you know, it's kind of a contradiction, right? You know, I say that everyone wants 30 amps full hookups, but we definitely know we see an increased interest in boondocking. What the other variable is the amount of time you're there. And so a lot of people, they're comfortable doing boondocking for 2 or 3 days. But if you're at a national rally, you're there for a week or a week and a half, that's a long time for a lot of people to want boondocking. And frankly, international rally isn't camping. You know, a lot of people's vision of boondocking is going out next to that stream or that lake, or the national forest or BLM land and having a wonderful time at a farm and a ranch. That's not an international rally. International rallies are really around your trailer is just sort of your hotel room, next to 1,000 other trailers and in your friends, but it's learning about your area and going to seminars, going to classes, buying stuff, getting your trailer fixed. And so when people are in that situation, they kind of like to go back to the trailer and have water and electrical and sewer. That is just the reality. That said, we are offering boondocking. But we generally find that that doesn't get taken even if offered at our international rallies.
All right. Darlene, I think it's a bummer Canadians cannot visit US bases. Didn't even think about that. Jenny said another winner of Campfire. Thank you, Jenny and John. Appreciate it.
Oh, Alyssa had a really, Alyssa Javati, remember she's with our Harvard's Host team. The Harvard's Host team is really great. We spent about a year working with them and more of them. And it's really fun to work with a team that is principled, really loves the product, loves their customers like we do. It's not a force at all. They're very open. They are the right people to help our hosts transition across from courtesy parking. They do this all the time and to help our members too. So we're really happy to be working with them. And Melissa, thank you and your team over there for this a very large effort, actually. This is not an easy task or a simple task.
Yes.
All right,
I
so
love
Nancy
working with
asked
them.
about, can we getting rallies on the interactive calendar with
Yep.
more advanced notice, please? That's an easy button. Go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, actually, I know internationally we were talking about that, and we were actually recently talking to some local clubs about that as well, trying to get as much advanced information out there because we know people are planning and trying to get things done for the year. So
But we will be having save the dates for all the international rallies put up pretty soon. If
that
happens about.
webinars, all of that stuff, absolutely. We're trying to get all that up there. If you haven't
Mr.
signed up,
Holly, John Holly. Thanks for joining us, John. Looking
yeah.
forward to seeing you down the road at some point.
He said he has happy hour as a courtesy parking host. I think I need to put him on my itinerary.
Yeah, Laverne and I, we've mooch docked at John Holly's house down there, by the way, in Arizona. So he puts on a good show as always.
Good.
So.
I would imagine.
All right,
Alrighty.
folks. Well, we'll be back at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Laura, you got time for that? You and Brad have time for that Valentine's dinner right now. You got
He
like
already brought
3
me
hours.
my chocolate covered strawberries. He's good. He's a good guy. He knows exactly what to bring me every year.
He is
I
a
got
good man.
chocolate covered strawberries are waiting for me, so we're good.
All right, we'll see you guys see you two in a couple of hours. So
Yeah.
take care.
Sounds
Everybody
good.
have a great night. Bye.